Hello everyone, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Keisha and today I'm going to be starting yet another romance reading vlog. This is the year that I have fallen in love with clean romances. They are the bee's knees. I especially love romantic comedies and I'm just like living my best romance life over here. So I've already done a fall reading vlog, but I wanted to do another fall romance reading vlog because I have a few on my October TBR that I'm so excited to get to. So let me share these 3 books with you. I don't know if I'm going to get through all of them in this vlog, but if anything, maybe you'll get some recommendations for some books to check out this autumn. The first book that I have is Very Sincerely Yours by Kerry Winfrey. I have read from this author before and really enjoyed her stuff, and I'm actually buddy reading this one with my friend Gwen from Gwendolyn Kinsinger. This book is supposed to be like You've Got Mail meets Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and I don't know what it is about that combo that just sounds right up my alley, so I'm very excited to read this one. This story follows our main character, Teddy Phillips, and she never thought that she would be spending her time in a toy store at 30 years old. So she works at this vintage toy store, and she also has a secret. She has a guilty pleasure, which is watching Everett's Place, which is a children's show where it's kind of like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and all these kids will like submit letters to him and he reads them. So Teddy decides to submit a letter to Everett and they start this correspondence, which is where the You've Got Mail aspect comes in, I believe, and they strike up a romance from there. So I just think this sounds so cute. I have high hopes for it, but I'm also nervous that I won't like it because I have had some misses from this author, but I'm choosing to be excited. The next book I have is The Fallback Plan by Melanie Jacobson. This is the second book in the Sweater Weather series. I recently read Just Don't Fall by Emma St. Clair last month and gave it 4 stars, and I'm so excited to continue in this series. So these are interconnected standalones, so you don't necessarily have to read them all or all in order, just whatever you want to do. So this book follows our main character, Jolie McGraw, and she has kind of switched places with the bad boy. She used to be the golden girl and this guy used to be the bad boy, but now I guess it seems like they've swapped places. So she is coming back to her hometown of Harvest Hollow after 10 years to prove a point and to even a few scores. She's opened up a new bar, and she's shocked to find out when she comes home that Lucas Cole, who she was like stressed about a lot as a teenager. I don't know if maybe she had a crush on him or if he was just like driving her nuts, probably both. But he is now the town's sheriff. And so they've, like I said, swapped places because I guess he was the bad boy growing up. So now he's the sheriff. Anyways, fun times are ahead, I'm sure. This is a short book, so I feel like I'll be able to get through it pretty quickly. So that's why it's on this TBR. And plus I really wanted to continue in the series. And my last book, which may or may not be gotten to in this video, we shall see. I am going to read it this month, but I just don't know if I'll get to it in a week's time, so we'll see. That is Pumpkin Everything by Beth Labonte. This is a cozy, Hallmarky type of a romance that has also been made into a Hallmark movie, which hopefully I'll be able to watch this week if I get to this book. And this follows our main character, Amy Fox. She just called off her fall wedding. Ouch. And she also has writer's block. She's a horror novelist. And then, not to mention all this bad stuff already, you know, her grandfather gets in a car accident and she has to come home to help take care of him. So she's returning to her hometown where she runs into Kip Parker, her childhood best friend, first love, and the entire reason for her skipping town in the first place. So this sounds like it's going to be both hard-hitting and it's like a sweet romance. So hopefully I will enjoy that one. But these are the 3 books that I plan to get to this week. We will see, but I am starting with Very Sincerely Yours. Gwen has already started this one. She's already like 30% in and way ahead of me, so I have to catch up with her. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this one, and I will give you guys my initial thoughts once I have an update. for the poor lighting, but I wanted to give an initial update. So I think this main character is a trip. She is cracking me up. She's honestly just like really pitiful. So you start out in chapter 1 and she thinks that her current boyfriend is about to propose to her, but he's breaking up with her. And it's just funny to me. Like, it's not funny, okay? It's not a funny situation, but I thought it was funny, like how she was so naive to what was going on. But she's also just kind of a pitiful character. But also tell me why there's aspects of her character that I feel like I can relate to. Like not really super having your life together or not really knowing exactly what you're doing in your 30s. Like, I mean, does anybody know what they're doing? I mean, I guess some people do, but she's working at a toy store. So I don't know. I'm entertained so far. I like her friends. I like the way this is going. It is kind of weird, like the infatuation that she and other women have with this like children's show host, because he's like an attractive puppeteer children's show host. It's kind of weird. There's also a lot of pop culture references, which I know some people don't like, but I like them if they are like relevant to my time. So for me, it's really nostalgic. So far I'm only like 4 chapters in, but I am really enjoying it. Okay, I am 82 pages, 13 chapters into this book. And y'all, I just am coming off of reading two times through Assistant to the Villain, which is a very quirky, cozy romantasy, slow burn. This is also a very quirky, kind of cozy, but also kind of a mess romance. And I'm really enjoying this. It's not like the perfect book. There are definitely some things that I don't love about it. But for the most part, I have laughed out loud at a part. And I almost came on here to share it, but I'm like, you need to experience it on your own. If I told you, it wouldn't be as funny if you read it. So I really loved that. And then we just got to the part where Teddy has written her first letter to Everett. I'm really enjoying getting to know these characters. They are very different characters than I've ever read before. Teddy is very much living her life from trauma as a child, where she feels like she can only ever do what other people tell her to do. Like she doesn't know how to make decisions for herself. And you can tell she's like very much a people pleaser and very much just wants to do things to help other people, but she doesn't really do a good job of like doing what she wants to do and taking care of her needs and herself. Then you have Everett, who grew up watching the Muppets and is infatuated with puppets and children's shows, which is, I don't know if that's something that's attractive. I don't want to say that's something that's attractive, but in this book, like I'm just along for the ride. So this is definitely a different type of romance. It's pretty quirky, but if you don't mind that, I mean, it is its own thing and I'm enjoying it. So I'm probably going to read about 30 more pages and then call it a night. So if I have any other updates after those 30 pages, I will be back. But if not, then I will check in whenever I've read more and have more to say. Okay, I have made it to page 150, chapter 25, and this book is something else. Like, I don't even know what to say. The way that I want to just like come on here and update after every chapter is really telling. I don't even know how to describe this. There's just a lot. There's a lot in it. There's some really weird things in it. Like there is a character in here that a couple times it's mentioned that she does oxidation art, which basically means that she pees on a canvas. We're not going to talk about that because if I had to ask this author one question, it would be, why did you choose to have this character do this? But we're just going to set that aside. There's also like one element or a couple of elements of the story that I don't love. I mean, there is like cursing in it here and there, like there's been a few F-bombs, but overall it is such a fun, good time. It's very weird and very different. But I don't know, like there's just something about it. Like I keep laughing. There was just a really fun like karaoke scene and I really enjoyed that. And this definitely does have those You've Got Mail vibes. So I think if you're interested in anything like that, like I can already tell you, am I halfway through yet? No, but almost halfway through, that you would probably really like this. But it is just like these characters are characters that I don't feel like typically I would relate with, but she does put a lot of relatable scenarios or quotes or just like life musings in this. So I'm having a really good time. It is 12:30 a.m. and I really should be in bed and not updating you all right now, but I've got to tell you. I finished this book in 2 days. I cannot tell you how long it has been. I cannot even tell you what the last book was that I stayed up late to finish. This was such a huge surprise for me. I don't even know what to say. There are not words adequate enough for me to tell you how I feel about this book. It wasn't like the perfect book. Like there are definitely things about it that I didn't love, but they were so minuscule in the grand scheme of loving this book. Like I have teared up. I have laughed out loud. I have audibly said aw and swooned. And this has just been the most wonderful book. Like I don't even want to read the other books for this video because I just don't feel like they're going to measure up. And that is definitely not what I expected. I've read from this author before and I have loved her and I have DNF'd a book by her before. So like I had no idea how this was going to be. And I don't even know how to describe to y'all like what this is because I think I said it previously. It's just so unique. It does its own thing. But I'm just going to say a bunch of words and I hope that they resonate with you. I hope that they give you a sense of what this book is about. I hope that maybe I can convince you to try this book out because it was everything. It was just everything. So in case you can't already tell, this was a 5-star read for me. And it's like a Meg Ryan movie in book form. I absolutely loved it. I think this would be a great movie. I wish it was a movie. I think it would just be fantastic. There's settings of like a Halloween party down in like downtown Columbus, Ohio. That's where the story takes place. There's a bookstore setting. There's the set of a children's show, think Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And gosh, there's so many pop culture references in this. And there's so many just sweet moments. I don't even know. There's so many things that like I could point out from this. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know. There's so many things that I wish I would have highlighted and tabbed in this. There's so many things that I want to share with you, but I didn't share those things with you. And I think it's because I want you to experience this on your own. There's so many sweet quotes. There's so many moments that were just so good. So the romance in this obviously was so cute. I absolutely love these characters together. Teddy and Everett are just the sweetest couple. I ship them so hard. They are so they're adorable. They are the cutest thing of life right now for me. They're just so cute. But also this had a really great friendship in this story. I love Teddy's friends, Kirsten and Eleanor. They were just the epitome of like the perfect best friends. They were there for her. They supported her. They loved her truly. And they allowed her to be herself. They are such great friends. And I loved, there were so many characters in this that I loved. I loved Josie, who owns the vintage bookstore. I wish it was a bookstore. The vintage toy store that Teddy worked at. She was the sweetest character. There's so many great side characters in this. And there's so many like subplots in this. There is a romance, but there's other things going on. And the biggest thing I think is just like Teddy trying to figure out that it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to figure out what you want to do with your life and follow your dreams. And maybe you don't know what your dreams are. Maybe you don't know what you want to do with your life, but sometimes that's the joy in it. It's just like finding the little joys and finding the little things and trying things. And I don't know, I love the message of this book so much. I love that this book was so nostalgic for me. It has a lot of pop culture references that are nostalgic for me as far as TV shows or people or foods or like toys or just all the different things. There's so many good things. So I especially think if you grew up in like the 80s or 90s, you would probably really enjoy this. But I could ramble on and on about this. I've already been rambling for like 5 minutes, and there's just not enough great things I could say about this. This is 5 stars. Honestly, like, I'm wondering if this is 6 stars, but I'm like, but it's not perfect. There were a couple things in it that I didn't like I don't really understand. Again, I mentioned it before, why there was like mention of this character that literally did pee art. I don't understand that. But you know what? Like, sometimes people are just weird and it works for them, you know? Like, we're all weird in our own way. And there was a couple other like little things that I feel like didn't have to be in the story for it to be, like, it wasn't a pertinent part of the story. It's just like, there were just like little token things that were thrown throughout. So other than that, like, literally, I think this is going to be one of my favorite books I've read this year. So, and spoiler alert, if you don't already know this, Gwen loved it too. So I will come back when I have had time to recover from this book and read the other ones. But man, I absolutely loved it. Full transparency, I cannot stop thinking about this. And I sit here and I keep coming back to it, and I keep thinking, I didn't say enough. What if I missed something? And I'm pretty sure I did, because I'm pretty sure I didn't mention Gretel in this story, who is like the sweetest 12-year-old, who is also like an old lady in a 12-year-old's body, and I love her. But here's the deal. There's no way in this world that in one sitting I can sit down and remember everything that I want to tell you all about this book to convince you to read it, okay? Unless I wrote it all down, and I'm not doing that. So I am reluctantly just gonna move on. I've moved on, but I'm still thinking about this, so just keep that in mind, okay? I have moved on to my next book, which is The Fallback Plan by Melanie Jacobson. So like I said at the beginning of this video, this is book 2 in the Sweater Weather series, and it is short, so hopefully I'll get through it quick. The last 2 books in this video are short. So this one follows our main character, Jolie McGraw, and Jolie grew up in Harvest Hollow, and when she was in high school, she was kind of known as like the shy and sweet girl, but I think she had a little bit of a rough go. It sounds like her dad may have been the town drunk, and she got a bad rap because of him, and like she just had a hard time in school and in life. And so she was known though as kind of like a golden girl, like a good girl in spite of all those things, but she just kind of had a rough hand, and I don't feel like she really cares for the community that she grew up in. Maybe she feels like they didn't take care of her dad or her enough. I'm not really sure, but that's kind of what I'm learning so far. I'm only 20 pages in. And then you also have our main character, our main male lead, who is Lucas Cole. And when he was in school, he was like the bad boy, the jerk, the punk. Like, he was a senior when Jolie was a sophomore, and Jolie tutored him, and I don't think he was like the best person, but now he's the town sheriff and he's like held in high regard. So Jolie comes back to Harvest Hollow after 10 years of being away to open up this bar, and she's actually renovating a bar that's always been there. So the townspeople are like, why are you changing things? Why are you making this like girly little bar instead of it being like what it was before? So she's kind of getting a hard time given to her at this point in life too. So I'm only 20 pages in, and that is kind of what I've gathered so far. I will say, you know, it's not this. However, it's not that. It's not gonna be that. It's not supposed to be that. I don't know if I like books, romances, anything that take place too much in bars. And I'm not saying this is going to, but like right now, I don't really care for the main character. I don't relate with the main character. She's kind of seeming like she's coming back to Harvest Hollow and she's like going to set the record straight or something. And I don't know, like I'm not really resonating with her character yet. But again, only 20 pages in. And so I'm not invested in the story. I don't really care about the romance right now. So I will let you know as I read. I'll probably get through this pretty quick. I did start the audiobook. It's available on Everend, but I'm just not sure that I like the narration of it. And that's kind of typical for me with indie published romances. So I'm going to continue this just reading with my eyeballs. And once I have a little bit more thoughts, or once I finish, whichever comes first, I will come back and report. All right, I have an update on this book. I am about, I don't know, like maybe almost halfway through. And it's fine, but I think I can tell like in a few words kind of how I'm feeling. So I feel like that I don't really know the characters, that I'm getting told about them, but I'm not really getting shown anything about them. So it's one of those situations, and I really don't like books that tell you and don't show you things, which this is short. So it's kind of one of those situations where it's probably not going to be showing me much of anything. And I don't really love either of the main characters. I like the idea that Jolie is getting like really invested in Lucas's niece, Brooklyn, and she wants to like help her and be like a female role model for her. I think that's really sweet, but I don't think this story is going to have the depth that I want it to have, nor do I think that it's going to be funny. And I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but what I like in my romance books is like comedy. So I like rom-coms, and this is not really a rom-com. It's just a romance that seems to be trying to have some deeper elements and deeper conversations, but they're very grazed over and just kind of like told to you versus me actually feeling deeply about them. So I'm not thinking that this is going to be a new favorite, and I don't know, like this is my first book by Melanie Jacobson, and I do have another one of her books on my want to read. I think it's called Kiss Me Now. And it's making me hesitant about her other books because they're also shorter. They're longer than this, I think, but not by much. So I don't really know. I just don't know if this is going to be like a great book for me. I think it could be like a 3, but I don't really feel like it's going to be a 4 or a 5. So if you don't hear any other updates from me before this is over, you're probably just going to hear like my final thoughts. Well, I hate to say it, but I did not have a great time with this. It's such a bummer. So I guess, I don't even know. I don't want to say anything bad about it because like some people might like it, but this just wasn't my cup of tea. So I guess in short, I don't like the bar setting. I didn't understand why the main character wanted to come back home and open a bar. Like I know why she wanted to come back home, because she was kind of like doing the whole vengeance thing, and it was like her fallback plan, but then I don't know. So I didn't really understand why she wanted to open a bar, because her dad was an alcoholic and she considered the previous bar owner here an enabler. And so like that didn't really make much sense to me. And then I also was really frustrated at some of the words used to describe, like there was a doll bandit in this book, and that was like a mystery that you kind of had to solve. So it kind of had cozy mystery elements. So I don't really know if it knew what it was doing, to be honest, but a doll bandit would mean that somebody is stealing dolls, right? So that's not what was happening. Somebody was leaving dolls at people's doorsteps. So that's not like a doll bandit. So I don't really get that. That frustrated me. And then overall, like I feel like there were good parts. Like anytime that she spent time with the librarian, or she was at the library, or times where she was spending time with Brooklyn, which is Lucas's niece that he's raising, those were sweet moments. And honestly, like the last chapter and the epilogue were probably the best parts of the book, but they were really cheesy and kind of came out of nowhere in regard to like the whole rest of the book being very, very flat for me. The characters fell flat. I didn't feel like there was a lot of humor or banter or anything throughout. It was very rushed. It was very all over the place. I didn't really sense any chemistry between the two main characters. I didn't really get a lot of, like I got backstory, but it's like I was saying earlier, it was a lot of telling instead of showing, and I wasn't here for it. So I may have left out a couple of things, I'm not sure, but overall I just was not super impressed with this one. I think that some people might enjoy it, but for me, it's just gonna have to be a 2-star, and I hate that. This is my first book by this author, but it is the second in the Sweater Weather series, which I was excited for, but now I'm nervous about the rest of the series because I got so excited because I enjoyed the first book, but every book is by a different author. So I guess that's gonna tell me if I'm gonna like these authors or not, but unfortunately, this was just not for me. I feel like it needed to be fleshed out more, and I don't know, like it had the premise for like a good story. And I will say that at times the bar like story kind of felt like Cheers. You know, sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. Like it did feel like that towards the end, but I just didn't really enjoy the ride. So I'm giving it 2 stars, and I'm going to call it a night for reading, but that just means tomorrow I pick up Pumpkin Everything, which will be my last book for this vlog, and hopefully I can find this Hallmark movie somewhere so I can also watch that and review that as well. I'm sorry that y'all are just basically getting me on my couch this week, but this is just a casual reading vlog with reading updates. So hopefully that's been okay with y'all and y'all have enjoyed that. I just spent a very, very long day cleaning my house and my whole body is sore. I have like a sedentary job and I sit like most of my life. So I'm very sore today. But I did manage to read before I started cleaning 1 chapter of Pumpkin Everything. So I was going to introduce this book to you all and tell you what I'm thinking about it so far. And then I'm going to try to finish this book up this evening. So this book is following Amy Fox, and she has just recently gone through a heartbreak. She was engaged to be married, and then her fiance ended up cheating on her, and so she is reeling from that in a not good way, and then obviously and then she also, as a result of that, is having writer's block. So she is a horror novelist and she's having trouble writing. And so she's going through all this when she gets a phone call from her mom, and her mom tells her that her grandfather has driven through a Dunkin' Donuts. And she's like, Mom, why are you so upset about him going through the drive-thru? And she's like, no, he drove through the store. Like he drove through Dunkin' Donuts. So he broke his wrist, which is like a small injury, but he is elderly and he already kind of needs a little bit of assistance. But her and her mom no longer live in Autumnboro, which is where her grandfather lives, and they both live in Pennsylvania. So her mom is like, well, if you don't go up there to like sit with him and help him out, then I'm gonna end up having to like put him in assisted living down here in Pennsylvania, and we're gonna have to sell his house, and we're gonna have to sell Pumpkin Everything, which is I think a candle shop that her grandmother owned, and when her grandmother passed, her grandfather took it over. So reluctantly, Amy decides to go back to Autumnboro, and she doesn't really want to go back because of Kit Parker. So Kit Parker was her childhood best friend and her first love, and the reason that she left Autumnboro in the first place. Now, I don't really know all of what went on. I just know that something happened between her and Kit, and I think it may be the way that she treated him, and she's kind of like ashamed and embarrassed and feels like he's going to hate her when she comes back. So I did read the first chapter, and I will say I think I'm really going to enjoy this. It has all of the Hallmark movie vibes. I love the fall atmosphere of it, and we're not even in Autumnboro yet, and I just think this is going to be a really good time. The grandfather and the situation with all of this in the book very much reminds me of my grandmother, and so I feel like I'm going to be able to resonate with the story. So I'm really looking forward to reading this, and I will check in when I have more updates. Good morning. I am on reading sprints with Bethany this morning, and I have not gotten a lot of reading done, so I don't have much of an update for you, but I thought I would just check in. I've only read 2 chapters of Pumpkin Everything, but I have to say, cue the loud truck, as always. I have to say that I'm really liking this. There's so many things I feel like I can relate to that have happened in my life or that remind me of things from like high school or like growing up in the town that I grew up in. But also, she quotes the Green Arrow. I don't know if any of you guys have seen Arrow, the TV show with Stephen Amell, but I used to love that show. And she is like, she has like car trouble. She's on the side of the road and she's like, I took a deep breath and tried to force myself to think about something else, someone else. I sounded like the intro to Arrow. I must become someone else. I must become something else. Like, I just died. I was like, yes, this is, she and I could be besties. I love the way she's writing this. I'm only 16 pages in, but I'm going to read some more and let you know more of my thoughts. But I'm having a really fun time hanging out with Bethany this morning. And yeah, I'm going to read some more and then I'll check in. All right, friends, I have finished Pumpkin Everything and I'm here to wrap up my thoughts on this book as well as the others that I've read in this vlog. So hopefully you've enjoyed. I ended up giving Pumpkin Everything 4 stars. Now, if you are looking for the perfect cozy fall read, I feel like this is a really good bet for you. So it does follow Amy and Kit and kind of like a second chance romance that is set in Autumnboro, New Hampshire, and it is just the cutest, coziest little town. I love all of the characters. It honestly feels a little bit like a cozy mystery setting, except you don't really have a mystery. It's just cozy. And Amy is coming back with some hard feelings towards this town. You can kind of see that in how she has written some of the townspeople into her horror novels in not such a positive light. So she gets a little bit of a redemption, as well as like her and Kit have this rekindling of romance. This is very like predictable Hallmark movie type of a book. So you basically know what's going to happen the whole way through, but I feel like it was just the best time. Honestly, if any of you know the book, The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, I tried to read that book last year, got 48% of the way through and decided to DNF it because it was super cozy. I loved the vibes. And then there were just randomly 4 spice scenes thrown in there and I just was not here for it. So it kind of ruined the vibe for me. And I feel like this is exactly what I wanted that book to be. So take that for what you will. If you want like a cleaner alternative, maybe this would be a good book for you. But I just really enjoyed the characters. I thought there was really good messages throughout. There was just a lot of like good messaging in this, and I don't know, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't a 5-star, but I just really enjoyed it. It was a great 4-star read, one I'll definitely recommend every autumn. Now, I did say there is a Hallmark movie adaptation of this, and I haven't watched it yet because I'm going to be watching it with the Girlies Who Read Book Club. Like anyone that is in Jordan's Patreon that is planning to watch this, that are able to, we're all going to watch it together. So I'm going to wait on some more people to finish this so we can watch it. I think it will just be fun to buddy watch with other people, but this definitely has a special place in my heart. I'm going to continue in the series. The second book is Maple Sugar Crush, and I think there's only 2 books, which is kind of sad because I could definitely see myself revisiting this world and these people. But she does have a Christmas book that is set in Reindeer Falls, Tennessee, and I was like, sign me up. They're all short and I can get them, I think, on Kindle Unlimited. So I'm very excited to continue. I feel like I had more things to say about this, but I just can't remember at the current moment what all those things were. But I did really enjoy this one. So let's really quickly go over the books that I read and wrap up my thoughts on this vlog. So I feel like this was overall a really successful reading vlog. This wasn't anything super fancy. I didn't do any like additional tasks or like cozy tasks or anything in this video, but I did just want to do another reading vlog to showcase some more clean fall romances and let you know my thoughts on them and maybe give you some recommendations. So we started out with Very Sincerely Yours by Kerry Winfrey, and Joey, I know, baby. Mommy's busy. Hold on. Oh my goodness, guys. I cannot with this dog. As I was saying, I started out with Very Sincerely Yours by Kerry Winfrey. This was by far my favorite book that I read in this vlog. It was 5 stars, honestly gave me 6-star feelings at times. It's definitely a new favorite romance of all time, even with its quirks. I just thought this was so well done, and I can't wait for more people to pick this up and share their thoughts. I just thought it was perfect. Like, even though, have you ever read a book and you're like, it's not perfect, but it's my perfect book? Like, there were things that I wish weren't there, but overall, like, the vibes, the feelings were all just there, and that was this for me. So I hope that you all pick this one up, if anything else. Then we had a little bit of a dud with The Fallback Plan. It was only a 2-star for me. I could have done without this one, but at least now I know. I really hope that this doesn't put a bad taste in my mouth for this author, because I really would like to give her another shot and try some more of her books. So if you have read any more from Melanie Jacobson, please let me know, because I would like to try out something else by her. I think Kiss Me Now is her most popular, so let me know if you've read that. And then finally, we rounded off this video with a 4-star Pumpkin Everything, and I am definitely going to continue in this little duology, I guess. So I feel like this is a good vlog and I'm really excited. This is definitely like my romance year, my romance season. I'm just loving all the romance books, and I don't know why. Like, that's just where I am in my life, and I like the clean reads. And so if you're looking for that, you hopefully will be able to find some good ones here. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off for this video, but if you made it this far and want to leave a comment down below for support, you can do one of two things. You can either, number one, let me know, well, actually one of three things. One, I want to know if I convinced you to pick up any of these books. Two, I want to know what your favorite fall romance is, whether it's clean or not, or you can tell me what your favorite clean romance is. And three, if you don't want to do either of the other things, if you just want to leave a comment for support, you can leave a fall leaf emoji down below in the comments, or an orange heart, since this is a fall romance vlog. I hope you all enjoyed this, and stick around for more fall content from me coming soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, friends.